Would you rather have Garoppolo or Cam Newton? Just like rest of season type of idea.
I think I'd rather have Garoppolo.
Really?
Yeah, he's got
Samuel. I mean, that's he gets 200 yards every week off Samuel.
Listen to the rest of season Garoppolo matchups. He's got Jacksonville, Minnesota, Seahawks, Cincinnati, Atlanta, Tennessee, Houston, and the Rams. I mean,
is that why you wanted to talk about Deebo Samuel this week? Because of that, he's a great trade for right now.
Oh yeah, I want Deebo Samuel. I want him.
Deebo Samuel's a stud.
I mean, he's just if that's his schedule for the rest of the year.
It seems like a season winner right there. That's an easy schedule. And, I mean, I feel like Cam's still going to be good, but I just like Garoppolo a little bit better.
You like Cam better than Simeon?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay, well, who's next on your list?
All right, so speaking of Deebo, we're going to talk a little bit about Deebo. He's been absolutely killing it, and at least in my mind, was under the radar before the season started because I got no exposure.
He was under the radar to everybody. He was getting drafted in like the 8th, 9th, 10th round. I mean, he was a late guy.
While Ayuk was going in the 3rd.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, everyone was
everyone was all on
much
the
higher
Ayuk.
on
Or at least every draft I was in.
Yeah. Deebo, he averages around 10 targets a game. He just this week got 27.8 fantasy points with just 5 targets and 5 rushing attempts.
He's a monster. He's not on anybody's waiver wire, so
No, we're just talking about he's a stud, and he's blown my mind this year.
Do you think it's going to last? Right now, he's the number 2 scoring wide receiver in the league, only behind Cooper Kupp. Right?
I think he'll end up number 1.
I don't think he can pass Cooper Kupp at this point.
Well, that's true. Kupp
Kupp would have to have like 3 weeks of 0, and Deebo still be what he's been doing.
Well, then I think he can hold the 2 spot.
I feel like I don't. I feel like Deebo is just going to keep producing great.
Though I think Justin.
So would you rather have
Justin
Deebo
Jefferson's
or
a sneaky 2 spot?
Would you rather have Deebo or Justin Jefferson?
That's a tough one.
Deebo or Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
I'd probably rather
have Deebo.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a
Justin
tough
Jefferson and Thielen split enough to where I like Deebo more.
Yeah.
Yeah. He only had 5 targets this week, but they didn't. I mean, they didn't need
Deebo?
him. Yeah, Deebo.
Yeah, but he still had 30 fantasy points.
I know, but I like looking at the volume and seeing consistent volume. But he still, he got 27.8 fantasy points.
That's probably been his lowest volume week of the year, right?
Right, and what I was saying
still scored a lot.
is they didn't even really need him because they
won by so much.
They kicked the Rams' butt this
week. Does Jamar Chase have a chance to finish number 2?
He's number 4 right now. He's got a total of 146.
Would you rather have Deebo
points.
or Chase?
I'd rather have Deebo, I think.
I like Deebo. Plus, I mean, you guys did see that they lined him up in the backfield. We're running rushing.
Yeah, he had like 50 rushing yards and it's a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
Deebo's a monster. There's not too many wide receivers I would take. Maybe just Kupp.
What about Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
He's even though he has more points than Deebo Samuel as far as fantasy wise.
That's because he hasn't had a bye yet.
That's because he had a 52-point week 1 or something.
It says Deebo hasn't had a bye yet.
Tyreek hasn't.
Tyreek hasn't had a bye
and
yet.
had a 52. Well, they both Deebo and Tyreek had amazing first weeks.
Yeah.
On a per game basis, Deebo has more than Tyreek by a little bit.
I don't know the way they're using him. I mean, they get used about the same, but I think Deebo's a little bit better than Tyreek Hill. And
really?
And talking about,
I like Tyreek.
The story is if you drafted Deebo Samuel, good for you.
If you drafted Tyreek, trade him for Deebo Samuel.
If somebody wants to trade you Deebo Samuel, do it.
I would do that. Also,
what about one more? What about Devontae Adams?
I think I like Deebo better. Where's Devontae Adams on here? He was injured a couple weeks, so this isn't really a fair comparison.
He had like a couple COVID weeks. Yeah,
I think he's also going down. I mean,
he just hasn't got a touchdown in a few weeks. His volume is there.
Yeah, his volume is there. He had 14 targets against Kansas City, only got 7 points. 11 targets against Seattle, and then got 11 points.
Yeah, he's probably got a big week coming.
In 2 matchups that we thought he would just have huge games.
Yeah.
He just didn't get the touchdowns.
He was a generated cash play by every algorithm. That
makes sense. It was an easy matchup. But anyways, Deebo is only 46 points under Cooper Kupp, and Cooper Kupp's on a bye this week, and Deebo is not. So I feel like he could. I mean, whenever we see them come back and we see how involved Odell Beckham's actually going to be, we'll probably have a better.
Yeah, but do you think Odell Beckham is going to be more involved than Robert Woods was?
I don't know that. I mean, can Cup?
I feel like
they're not going to cut into Cup targets. I mean, he's
going to take that
he's gonna
Robert Woods
get-
spot.
He's
gonna
still going to
get-
get his 12 to 14. Yeah.
I feel like Odell Beckham. They'll try to get him more involved than Robert Woods because the reason why he went with the Rams is
agree with
because
I don't
you know
either.
the reason why.
By the way, Robert Woods is a much better wide receiver than Odell Beckham Jr.
Robert Woods is a more consistent wide receiver.
I just think he's better.
I don't think that's
He's
Odell.
maybe not as explosive.
I don't think that's Odell
I don't know.
Beckham's
Is
fault.
Odell Beckham Jr. still explosive?
Yes, he's still
He's more-
explosive.
he's more explosive than
No,
Robert
like I
Woods.
said, whenever
Please clip me the explosive play by him that you've seen.
you can't have an explosive play when your
Minus-
quarterback.
minus the Cowboys game.
You
last
can't
year.
have an explosive year whenever the quarterback always overthrows you or doesn't even see you when you're wide open.
Okay, I'll be excited for the Odell Beckham Jr. highlight film coming up.
I feel like he's got something to prove, and I feel like McVay called him on the phone and said, "Hey, this is how we're going to use you. This is why we want you here."
So is
Like he sold him on it, and so
I don't know if we're doing a buy low segment this week. Would that be a buy low guy for you?
oh yeah, I mean that's what I did. That's what I did last week, and
If I was in your league, you can have him.
He just traded for Odell Beckham last week.
I did, and I
What'd
had
you
to.
trade? You traded-
Why did I not know that? God.
You traded. Who did you trade? Corey Davis and someone else.
Allen Robinson, two scrubs.
You saying very good things and being very defensive about him should have tipped me off that he's on your fantasy team. I apologize to everybody who could see that he's on his fantasy team.
I traded, but he wasn't on my fantasy team, and I
He just traded for me.
and
which
I traded
makes you
to.
completely more defensive of
But
him.
the reason why I wanted to
He's
trade for him,
He's always loved
Odell Beckham Jr. is so good he's on a bye week because if he wasn't, he would get played in our DFS lineup this week, right?
no, I wouldn't have played him because they said that he was going to be limited. I only played him in my dusty teams because that's all I had this week, other than Elijah Moore. But I feel like after the bye, he's going to come back and he's going to have a great week. So let's see what happens there. All right, so
Real quick,
Next
I got
on
one
your
more
list.
Debo question for you.
Okay.
Dynasty terms.
Okay.
You like Debo or Chase? Jamar
Probably Chase.
Really?
Ah.
He's only 1 year younger.
You know, Debo's only second year. Yeah.
I know, but the reason why I'd
Third
say
year.
the reason why
Yeah,
I'd
third
say
year.
Chase is because he gets like 11 to 15 targets a game, and Joe Burrow and him went to college together. They have a really nice chemistry built between each other. That's like a
Yeah.
If he goes somewhere, the other guy probably wants to go with him type thing.
I could see the long-term concern for Debo being Trey Lance. What if he's bust?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So as long as Joe Burrow is his quarterback, I mean I like that better.
I like it.
But this year, you prefer Debo over Jamar Chase?
No, I'd try to go for me. I mean they're pretty equal. I like them
I
both
asked
a lot.
you earlier. You said Debo.
Yeah, it's probably more because Ben has him in our league, and I know I can't get him.
I love how it hit me. It's just this season that it hit me that how much your fantasy team plays into my DFS team lineups.
I usually do. I mean, this
Thank
is a
God
weird.
you
This
guys
is a
didn't hit.
weird year for fantasy. I usually do pretty good when it comes to DFS, and in fact,
I think
I got
you
in,
do good at DFS.
I got in 76th place in the Millionaire Maker, and then after that, it was just
Hey, you had that one.
painful.
Who said
painful.
you weren't good at DFS? That didn't
I'm
come
just
out of my
saying,
mouth.
even though I know, but my point is that might be the case, but I still do good, even with that being the case, because I'm pretty good at fantasy football.
Yes, you just have a lot of passion for your players.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.